When should parents consider medication as the treatment option?
First of all, I don't think it's up to a professional, including a doctor such as myself, to say your child needs to be on medication. I think it's always something to discuss and look at the pros and cons. And that's especially the case because all medications have side effects. And so, and each family have their own perspective on where they want their child to head, and in terms of school performance, what they find acceptable and what they don't find acceptable. So the types of things that families often discuss with me in deciding when if their child should go on medication, is the severity of the symptoms. So in terms of their academic performance, if they're having trouble concentrating, are they keeping up with their class curriculum, or are they really completely falling behind? Is it affecting their self-esteem? Are they not able to progress to the next academic stage because they've fallen behind so far? For some families, the fact that their child is not meeting their potential alone is something which is a significant consideration, although it obviously makes a big difference whether they're not meeting their potential and they're performing at an average level, or they're performing at a very low level compared to the rest of the class. Whether their behaviour is resulting in a lot of discipline at school and at home, and whether that's affecting the child's self-esteem. Obviously, it's really important for children to have an environment around them which is celebrating their positives and which is making them feel like they're getting runs on the board and they're winning in life, and not always being told that they're the cause of problems. And so, that's a consideration. And because we know that there are interventions that can assist with ADHD short of medication, it's always important to make sure that everything else has been tried first. So from the way I view things and the way I view the evidence, the most important thing is looking at any underlying factors which can be contributing. So we're always looking at things like their diet and their sleep and their vision and their hearing, and whether they've got any symptoms of thyroid disease or whether they've had concussion, and all these sorts of medical things which we need to rule out first. Next, we've got to make sure that we've really got an understanding of where their child is coming from behaviourally and emotionally, and what things are like for that family. And often I'll involve a psychologist, sometimes a speech therapist or occupational therapist, depending on the situation. But we know that there's good evidence for classroom and home-based behaviour interventions to help with the child, whether it be sitting at the front of the class, whether it be making sure there's no distractions, whether it's making sure they're getting short instructions rather than a whole avalanche of instructions from the teacher. So we always like to make sure that all of those things are tried first before we look at medication.